What's up there, fellow dirt bike people? So kind of excited today. I got my big Rocky Mountain order in yesterday, which was good timing because I'm ready for it. So today what I'm going to focus on is getting the rear wheel built. So you saw the dirt bike changing stand, or mount changing stand, I don't know what you'd call it, tire changing stand, how about that? That I got the plans from Jay over at Dirt Bike TV. Go check him out if you haven't. We're going to put this thing to the test. So I'm going to go ahead and get the old hub pulled out of the 19-inch wheel so I can relace it to a 18-inch wheel. So I got the tire off the wheel, and new stand works great, by the way. But anyways, let me show you why, one of the reasons I'm changing this rim over from the stock rim to an aftermarket wheel. So like I said, the reason I'm changing these rims out onto these factory hubs is because this one right here actually has a bend in it. You can see that bend in that wheel right there. And the front has one to match. So that's probably the first reason I'm going to change these rims out on these hubs. The second reason is I'm going from an 18-inch rear rim I'm going from a 19-inch rear rim, and I'm going to go down to an 18. I like to have a little bit of more sidewall for the kind of riding we do on the back. And the third reason is I'm going to go to a black rim. I like the way the black rims look on the bikes. The bike's going to be black. And it's just, for my taste, I like the looks of the color, the black wheel on a bike with black plastics. So that's pretty much the only reasons I'm doing this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to remove two short spokes and two long spokes out of this without cutting them, just for the simple fact that a lot of your buddies, you know, they might have a spoke break, and these spokes are still good, and I'll throw them in my toolbox and I'll label them, and then if they ever break a spoke, they don't have to, you know, be out a weekend because they don't have a spoke in their rear wheel. And then the rest of them, I'm just going to go through and I'm going to cut them, pull the hub out, get it cleaned up, and get the new rim laced to this hub. So I have the hub all tore apart, got the spokes out of it, and I'm going to go ahead and take the rotor off, take the sprocket off because I'm replacing the sprocket anyways, and I want to get down in here and clean this hub up really good with some, you know, some Alumi-Bright and make it shine really pretty. But let me show you what I got when I was talking about the spokes. So I took a couple of these out because, you know, you never know when you have a buddy that's got a broken spoke on their wheel and they're like, I can't go riding because they didn't get one in time or whatever. So anyways, I always take a couple of these ones out that I know are good to use just for spares for temporary use, so it doesn't mess up somebody's riding weekend. But let me show you. So there is a long and a short spoke on these wheels. The long spokes go on the inside of the hub, on the inside of the wheel, and the short spokes go on the outside of the wheel. So just keep in mind when you're re-spoking and relacing a wheel, longs go in, shorts go out. And one thing I actually have done, if you'll check this out, is I've actually wrote it down right here on the wall right here, long spoke inside, because I don't do these every day and I always forget and have to either look it up or so. I just wrote that on there, and then next time I go to do it, I always know just to look up there and be like, long goes on the inside. But let me show you a problem I ran into that's more than likely something that could happen, and I'll show you what I do to fix it. So I've got the hub cleaned up, and I was getting ready to start with the inside spokes, and let me show you what happened. So the factory spokes are actually not quite as big around in diameter as these ones are. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to get my drill and some drill bits, and you start small and just work your way up until these will just slide right in and don't have a lot of play in them, but they're not like a press fit. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill out all of these holes in this hub and then start assembling this thing. Perfect. Just gotta do the other side now. So I got all my holes drilled out, and I've got the long side, the inside spoke started on the hub on one side. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those all started inside of the wheel, flip it over, do the other insides, and then we'll put this thing up on the balancing stand, put the outside spokes in it, the short ones, and we'll start truing this thing. So one more thing before I get going on this, I need to share with you guys is one thing that I do when I'm relacing a wheel is I take a little bit of anti-seize or never seize and just put just a little bit of dab on the end of the threads on these. And that does two things. It keeps these from galling up when you're truing the wheel, and keeps the nut from seizing, anti-seize, on the end of the spoke. The other thing of it is later down the road when you need to retorque the spokes or retrue the wheel, it makes them a lot easier to move the nut around on the spoke and not have it seize up. So just a little bit of a tip that I do that will pay off huge in the end. So anti-seize on the end of the new spoke.
Bring the funk back.
Now when you get to this point and you're putting the outside spokes in, they might seem a little bit tight to get in there, so they're kind of coming over the top of the inside ones. So one thing I like to do is I'll take this spoke, the outside spoke, and push down on the one it's going past. Remember, these are all loose still, and it'll get to a point sometimes where it's kind of stiff. And what I do is I take the end of a hammer, the handle of a hammer, and grab it kind of like that, kind of like a handle, and just push it, and it'll slide right into place. You'll see it goes right down into where the spoke seats in the wheel. There you go, 18-inch rim, relaced to a 19-inch hub. I'm gonna get the truing stand out, and we're gonna true and balance this wheel, and we'll be good to go. All right, so I got the wheel all laced up and I got it on the balancing stand. And one thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go and start at a central point. So what I usually do is I take a piece of masking tape or something like that and just put on either this side or this side of the wheel, if not both. And that way I have a reference to where I started and where to stop. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull each one of these nuts in on top of the spoke evenly all the way around until it starts to tighten up. And then I can go through and true the wheel this way and this way. Alright, so one thing I've done here is, like I said, I put a piece of tape for a reference point of starting and stopping on turning the wheels. What I do is I run the nut down on the spoke till there's about one to flush with the threads of the spoke. And what I found is if you do that and you do it evenly and you work your way down in steps all the way around, the wheel starts to tighten up and it stays truer longer. And this works really well, especially when all your parts are new, like the rim's new and the spokes new. It also works on old factory wheels, but more likely you've got a dent or ding in those, and so it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find the high spot, the low spot, and the wide spot on each side, and I'm going to adjust those accordingly and true the wheel up, down, left to right. And once I get those trued up, I can go around and torque all of the spokes to their proper torque, and we should have a true wheel. Running like this, if the wheel needs to come this way on the bottom, you're going to tighten the spokes that way. And as you do, you're going to need to come to the opposite side and pull them this way also. Otherwise, you're going to get a hop in the wheel. So every time you make an adjustment on one side, you need to do the same but opposite on the other side to counterbalance that. And the way I've actually got it set up is I've got a piece of TIG welding wire. I'll put the camera down so you can see it. So this is off of my stand, and it just comes over, and I've folded the end of the wire over so it doesn't scratch the wheel. But that acts as a guide to show where we're at as far as making the wheel true this way and this way. Now keep in mind, these wheels are actually going to have a natural warp to them a little bit, and you'll never get it out of the end of these on the edge. So I always go off of this edge right here versus this edge, because this edge right here tends to be more true and straight. So I got this all trued up. Now I'm gonna go around and basically just hand torque these, and you want to torque them between 4 to 5 foot-pounds, or I believe it's 48 inch-pounds, if I'm correct. These ones can probably go a little bit more than factory ones because they're a little bit bigger in diameter, but you can buy the fancy little torque wrenches, but if you don't have them, just make sure they're torqued about that all the way around and evenly, and you should be good to go. So like I was telling you earlier, this edge right here, you're gonna have a hard time getting a straight read on this as far as true, because it's so thin that I don't know, for some reason they defer really bad. So I always go off this inside edge. And if you see, I'll give her a spin there, you can see what I'm talking about. It's really close right here. But right here, it's still fairly wobbly. So I always go off of this inside lip right here where the actual tire seats, and I've had a lot better luck. But let me back up here and give her a spin, and you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about. So she's pretty true, really. I'm quite happy with that. So anyways, as soon as tires get here, we'll get them mounted up and throw them on. Look who we got in the old garage today.
Hey!
It's Jacer. What are you doing there, Jace?
I'm gonna try out this new stand that Kev built.
You're gonna pull
the tire off.
You're gonna pull the tire off for me, and then he's gonna pull the spokes out for this 500 build. And
I've never been so excited to pull a tire off in my life.
I know, right? They suck anyways, but hey.
It's a lot better than doing it on my knees.
That's how I figured, man. I mean, I've been doing this crap for, I don't know, a long time, and it's a lot more gooder than doing it on your knees on the floor. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get Jace to pop this thing off, see what he thinks about her.
What are you doing, Kev?
Cut spokes from the new Nipix.
This here, people, is why Nipix is the bestest.
Them are evil little buggers, man.
Go get your pair of dikes and try to cut some spokes. See if they do it,
I
people.
don't think wire cutters do these ones. To be real honest with you, I didn't think these ones
But
would
the
either.
old Nipix.
Oh, Nipix are evil little buggers, man. You're checking out, it shoots the nipple clear across the freaking shop, man. Pink. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to buy the bigger ones of those, I guess.
He'd cut rebar with the big ones. They're starting to get dull on you.
Yeah, going up a little, but that's all right. Start from the other end.
I'm gonna have to get me a pair of those.
These are awesome, man.
good fencing pliers.
Oh, jeez.
You can cut barbed wire without even sweating.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that thing is awesome.
Get your pair of Nipex, folks. Nipex, sponsor us.
That's the moral to the story today. What's up, guys? So you saw the other day I made Jace disassemble my front wheel for this bike right here because I've got a new one. Ooh. So I made him pop the tire off of the old wheel, and then you saw me cut the spokes out of my other wheel so I could get the hub out of it. But anyways, got the hub out of it, got it all cleaned up. Like I said, got the new rim here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get some spokes laced in this thing, and we'll throw her up on the stand and see if we can't get a front wheel built for this project this evening. And hopefully within the next couple days we'll have tires and a few more parts, and we'll just keep plugging along on this thing, and hopefully in the next couple days we can have this thing fired up and pretty much done. Get a little torque wrench on this thing and we'll be good to go. So I know there's probably going to be a lot of people saying that that's the wrong way of relacing a wheel, but you know what? This has worked for me for a lot of years, and I'm sure there's probably easier ways of doing it, but this is how I do it, and I don't know any other way. So if you've got better ways of doing it, let me know. I'd like to know, or tips and tricks. I'd be appreciative of it. Appreciate you guys watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.